Hey guys, this is the third video on my series on squatting. Today we're going to go over just a few of the different variations of squats. Previously we kind of worked on some of the finer details, and then the first video was more of the foundational parts of squatting. Today is just going to be like three different varieties, variations on squatting, and how we can challenge the body in different ways. Alright, so my first exercise, I'm going to use kettlebells. Now if you don't have kettlebells, you can use dumbbells, but the kettlebells just kind of makes this a little bit better, makes it a little more challenging. So this is going to be a bottoms up front double kettlebell front squat. You can do this with a single kettlebell as well, but we're going to start out with a double for this one. So you're going to pick up your kettlebells. Bottoms up is when you hold this up like this. We're going to have the elbows out in front of us. And this is really going to challenge our core stability, and this just makes for a very nice squat. We have that core on and the weight out in front of us. It really helps us get into a really good squat. So we're going to go down, drive back up. So hips are open, chest is tall, driving back up, and with these kettlebells in the bottoms up position, you're not going to just crash down because it gets really hard. So this is a really good way to develop your control and stability. So that's the double bottoms up front squat. All right, the next variation of squatting is the front squat, barbell front squat. So this one probably won't be for everyone. This one's a tough one for me. I had a broken elbow before, and this wrist is a little bit less flexible than the left one, so it makes for getting in this front rack position pretty difficult. But the more I do it, the better I get at it, and I suspect that you would probably have the same thing. So first thing, we're going to get under it. I go just a little bit wider than my shoulders with my hands. Now you're going to want to like grab the bar. That's your initial reaction. You'll just like want to grab this bar. In a front squat, you're going to actually, you just guide it with your fingertips. You just hold it there with your fingertips. The bar should sit there on your shoulders. We're going to get under it, and then one thing that I noticed really helps if you protract those shoulders, so really reach those elbows out in front of you. At first I was trying to get into it from here, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to get there. So I noticed that my shoulders were pulled back too far, so really reach those elbows out. That'll give you a little bit more room and get under there a little bit more comfortably. So we're going to get out, we're going to try to find a good position to get our shoulders in for that bar to sit on. Reach up. So now we're in our front rack position. And you notice how my fingers are just holding it here. I'm not grabbing the bar, because if you do, then it gets really difficult as far as our mobility. And then, shoulder width apart with the feet, whatever you want. And then on the front squat, you're going to think about dropping down, almost like sitting on a stool right between your heels. And come back up. So whereas like a back squat, you might sit back a little bit further, front squat, you're going to basically drop down. And you're going to notice your knees come out in front of your toes just a little bit more than in a normal back squat. So that's a front squat. That's kind of the traditional way to hold it. Now if we just can't get into that position, we can go front squat like this, cross your arms over, put it up, find a nice padded spot on your shoulders, and that's how you're going to lift it up. So this is a much easier way to do it. I don't feel like I have quite as much control in this position, but it's definitely easier on the elbows. So front squat's really great. I mean, it's just, you'll feel it so much more in your core if you do, if you can squat 245 pounds or something. You're going to have a hard time doing 185 in a front squat, typically. So it's a really good way to challenge that form, challenge your core and everything. I just like to mix it up sometimes and use that front squat rather than just back squatting. It's also good like if your back is sensitive to a lot of weight on it in back squats, it would be good to go into a front squat, because then you can take 20% of the weight off, and it might not bother your back so much. All the other exercises require some kind of equipment. If you don't have any, if you don't have a gym or weights at your house or anything like that, that's okay. We can still do single leg training. It's just as good and still very, very challenging, no matter how strong you are. So we can do single leg squats, and a lot of people you'll see like pistol squats, which are, you know, like that, but it can be kind of tough on your knees. I don't really love that one quite as much. It's more, to me, it's more of a kind of a circus trick kind of thing, but it's still good. It's just harder on your knees for a lot of people, and it kind of puts your back into a funky position. Probably not going to hurt you, but you know, if you can, I like to do a different variation of squats. So some people call these like aerial squats, and I like to just go like this, single leg, put all your weight on the one side. Think about, bend this knee, think about taking this knee down to the ground, just behind your heel. I like to reach out in front of me, heel up, reach back, touch. If you can, come back up. My balance is a little off today. Oh man. So it takes some practice. I haven't done these in a while. We're gonna sit back, drive up. Okay, so a couple things you want to pay attention to. Foot, like what your foot is doing. Where do you feel the weight at on your foot? Should be able to feel that whole foot, just like when we do any other kind of squats. If you have too much weight on your toes, you're probably shifting too much weight forward. We need to get some of that weight back so you can feel that weight throughout the whole foot. If our knees are caving in, think about driving that big toe into the ground to help straighten that knee out. And that's one thing I really want you to pay attention to, is where this knee goes on single leg squats. If we're diving in, we may need to use, like, grab a hold of a pole or, you know, a band or anything to give us a little help coming back up and going down. So use your arms if you have to. So use the arms until you don't have to use that anymore. Even if you just do the downward motion. So down, and then maybe just even back down, and then both feet up. Get used to that first before you transition into the full thing. So you want to keep that hip, knee, and middle of the foot all aligned while you're doing these aerial squats. All right, and then the final way I like to train these, I like to use like slider pads. Like, these are just furniture sliders that you can buy at, you know, Ace Hardware, any hardware store. Super cheap. You can get like a pack of 4 of them for, you know, $5 or something like that. You can do a bunch of different exercises with these, and in the future I'll show you more. But I like these slider lateral lunges or squats or whatever you want to call them. So what we do, put my foot on that pad. I like to shift all my weight to the right side since my right foot's on the ground. Reach out in front of me, and then I push. I have hardly any weight on that foot at all. I'm still, like, this is a really good position for my knee to be in because I can see my hip, knee, and toe are lining up. Come back up. So we're not pushing through this foot. This is more of a single leg squat, but you're gonna get a little bit of linear stabilization work, or I'm sorry, lateral stabilization work in when you're doing these. So we can do it with no weight. We can grab a kettlebell or a dumbbell or a plate or anything you want. However you want to load this. But that's just more single leg work, and that's going to give us a little bit of that lateral work through our hip, and that's something that's very important. So those are some different ways to do squats. There's many more out there, but that's just some of them you can do. Oh, overhead squats, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Get some kind of squatting work in, and it's a really important pattern to develop and strengthen. All right, for a little bonus, I thought I'd throw in a couple hip mobility exercises that I like to do, a little stretching and stuff. First one's called a frog stretch. Go wide with the knees, flat with the feet. You're gonna get down on your elbows, back flat. Put your weight over your elbows to start with, and then we're gonna slowly transition back into that stretch. Should feel those hips want to be like pulled apart. Kind of ease into it. Go slow with this one. I'll show you from the side. Hips open, back into that. And you'll know where to stop with this one. It's pretty rough. Kind of come out of it. You know, you can spend 10, 20 seconds in a stretch, something like that. You can even do longer if you want, as long as you want to stretch. The other one is going to be rocking. So we're going to get our toes into the ground. This one isn't quite so wide through the knees. Hands out in front of us. We're going to get our back flat. We're just going to rock back as far as we can. Come out of it. Push through those toes. And this is actually like a neurological reset for our body. Just some rocking. It looks a little funky, right? It looks a little dumb, but it actually works. So we're just kind of priming that squat pattern when we do this. There, and then I like to go kind of around the world. Make some big circles, so transition from this hand up to the other one. I'll show you from the front view. You kind of feel a little bit of obliques on each side as you work on this, get a little hip mobility. That's the second one. Third one, just getting down into a squat, feet flat on the ground. You can't get your feet flat into the ground on this. Mess around with your foot position. If you still can't, we're gonna have to lift the hips up. You gotta get those feet flat down on the ground, get into that position where your feet are flat, whatever, go as wide as you want, narrow as you want. Now we need to get the elbows on the inside of our knees, put the palms together, and you're just gonna open your hips up. You're gonna feel a big stretch. Get that chest tall. If you want, if you have a kettlebell or something, we can just take this kettlebell and hold out in front of us. That'll really help counterbalance us, be able to get us up nice and tall. And then from here we can just kind of rock side to side slowly, explore some of that movement, feel that stretch of the ankles and foot. Still have that weight centered over the foot, driving those elbows open. We can do some curls if we want to while we do this. Just spend some time down here. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it, the better squat depth you'll eventually get to. So that's it. Those are my tips. That's my 3-part video series on squatting. If I missed anything, please let me know and I can come back and cover it again. If you have any other suggestions of exercises that you'd like me to go over, feel free to send me an email or post a comment or anything like that. I'd love to hear it from you guys. Thank you so much for checking out Spark BMX Training. Do me a favor, I put some banner ads up on the side of my website. Nothing big, but I have some like Google ads. So if you're gonna buy anything, I'm sorry, it's not Google ads, it's Amazon. There's some Amazon ads up over there. If you click on that, if you're gonna buy anything at all on Amazon, no matter what it is, if it's diapers or whatever you people buy, go on there, click on Amazon from my page, and it's gonna give me just a tiny % of whatever you purchase, and it's going to help pay for my web hosting and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. Hope this helps you guys. Thanks.